Obsolete versus emerging technologies, a multimedia presentation. Greetings to you all. My name is Jessica Y. Green, and the two technologies that I chose to complete this presentation on are the typewriter as the obsolete technology and the personal computer as the emerging technology. This presentation is completed for Dr. David Thornburg, EDUC 7108, Walden University, summer 2012. To give you a very brief introduction, a brief history to the typewriter, my research showed Christopher L. Sholes as being the main creator of the typewriter. This American mechanical engineer and two other gentlemen by the names of Samuel Soule and Carlos Ghosn are credited with the invention of the world's first known practical modern typewriter in 1866. This machine was patented in 1888 in an attempt to make the machine work better. Another of Sholes' colleagues, James Dinsmore, suggested splitting up the typewriter's keys for specific letters of the alphabet that are usually used together to help slow down the process of typing. This idea became known as the QWERTY keyboard that we now see present on today's personal computers. Sholes later sold his invention to Dinsmore, who in turn sold the first Sholes and Ghosn typewriter in 1874. Initial sales were not good, and a company known as Remington made improvements to the initial design and improvement of the machine. Eventually sales picked up, and the typewriter quickly became indispensable tools for practically all forms of writing other than personal correspondence. They were widely used by professional writers, in offices, and for business correspondence in private homes. However, by the end of the 1980s, word processors and personal computers had largely displaced typewriters in most of these uses. This leads to me discussing the personal computer and giving you a brief introduction and history to it. The question of who invented the computer does not yield to an easy answer of just one name. Instead, there are many inventors that contributed to the history of computers, as this machine dates back to the 1930s. Some will argue that the company International Business Machines, also known as IBM, was the creator of the first personal computer, while others would say it was Steve Jobs and his then partner Steve Wozniak. Furthermore, there are many computers that were coined the first personal computer. Because everyone continuously improved the process of the personal computer, we will give them all credit in this presentation and focus more on the functionalities, features, and world influence of the personal computer. Now, as I review McLuhan's Teach-It, I will start by showing Teach-It 1 on the typewriter. As you can see from the quadrant, the typewriter enhanced the process of print from writing to electronic or typing. Typing increased efficiency in letter writing. Overall, the typewriter made it easier and faster for individuals to write letters and other documents. This is what the typewriter reversed into. Next, the typewriter featured a keyboard offering characters such as alphabet, numbers, and punctuation symbols, which speaks of the retrieval component of the quadrant. And lastly, the typewriter obsoleted individuals from using mere paper and pencil or pen for writing such documents as personal or professional correspondence. Next, I will show Teach-It 2 on the personal computer. As you can see from the quadrant, the personal computer further enhanced the process of printing and editing documents through the use of word processing tools. Also provided are other applications applicable for academic, personal, or professional use. In the reversal in 2 section, I said that the personal computer provides multi-function capabilities. For example, word processing software allows users to add, edit, delete, and save documents, thereby increasing efficiency more so than its predecessor. The next section shows the personal computer features as having a keyboard, various programs, software, and applications, such as calculator, sound record, etc., and the ability to easily edit and save documents. The computer serves multiple purposes while its predecessor only had one purpose. And lastly, due to its functionality and features, the personal computer obsoletes the typewriter in academic, educational, personal, and professional settings. For this part of this presentation, I interviewed 3 different individuals, all within K-12 educational institutions. Although you just see the names of my interviewees displayed right now, you will see and hear more information about each individual as they give the answers to the questions that were asked of them about their dealings with typewriters and personal computers in the educational field. In choosing a potential decision maker or IT specialist, what you see now are the questions that were asked of interviewee 1. Okay, now listen to the Q&A between interviewee 1, Miss Lynn Hawkins, and myself. Could you please start by stating your name, your current position, and your current organization?
My name is Lynn Hawkins, and what was the rest of the question? Oh yeah. I am a media specialist at Thompson Middle School in Centerville, Georgia.
How long have you been in your current position?
10 years.
Okay. Have you ever used a typewriter in it? And if so, list at least 3 reasons or 3 different ways that you used it.
I didn't have a computer. I didn't have an iPad, and I didn't have an iPhone.
In your position, did you have anything to do with the school's decision to replace typewriters with computers?
No.
All right. How has computers enhanced the education experience of today's student?
In our county, I know for a fact that we had wood shop, and the computer labs were installed, and so that the students could learn how to use computers because they were going to need those skills for the future. And it actually paid off because pretty much do everything now on the computer because you need the computer, and especially in my predicament, for doing research, for doing projects. It's magnificent because you can save stuff either on little travel drives, flash drives, or you can save it on our local server. But we also use it, like in the library, we don't have card catalogs anymore. We use that to look up books as our electronic card catalog, and they use it to take reading counts tests for our reading program.
Okay. So, in your opinion, do you think typewriters would have had the same influence that computers now have?
No way. Couldn't possibly, because computers or typewriters, you had to have a humongous bottle of whiteout, and you had to wait anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes for the darn thing to dry, and then type over it. It had no memory whatsoever. Some of the later typewriters, the electronic ones, had a little bit of memory, but for the most part, it was a one-shot deal. If you didn't get it the first time, then it didn't remember anything. It couldn't save anything. It had no memory whatsoever. It was sad.
Okay. All right. Do you think today's students need to know how to use a typewriter?
Well, actually, they're learning because they're learning the keyboard, and the keyboard is the typewriter.
Good answer. All right. Why do you think today's students need to know how to use the computer?
For all the reasons I listed earlier. They're going to need it for their job. I mean, it is life. Eventually, which now, even TVs have turned into computers. They have Google TVs, and so they have a keyboard with your TV. So you need to learn computer skills because that is the world. That is the way. That is. I won't even say 21st century. That's what we're going to do henceforth forevermore until they put a chip in our head, and then it can, figure it out for, without us having to type stuff.
Okay. From one of the questions earlier, I forgot to ask you something. All right. So you were not a part of the decision to.
No, it was already done. They transitioned over to computers. I want to say it was it was either in the late 80s or the early 90s.
Okay. So if you were in the position at that time, would your position have allowed you to be a part of that decision-making process?
I'm sure it would have, but I hope that I would have been a visionary and been able to see that, this is the wave of the future. I hope I would.
In choosing two end users, such as teachers or students, these are the questions that were asked of interviewee 2 and number 3. Okay, now listen to the Q&A between the two interviewees, Ms. Tamika Waller and Mr. Lamont Golden, and myself. Could you please start by stating your name, your current position, and your current organization?
My name is Tamika Waller. I'm a 7th grade math teacher at Thompson Middle School in Centerville, Georgia.
How long have you been in your current position?
I've been teaching middle school for the past 15 years.
Have you ever used a typewriter? If so, list at least 3 ways or reasons why you used it.
Yes, I've used a typewriter before. I learned hand positioning and the formation of the letters on a typewriter while I was in elementary school and junior high school, but that is all I've ever used a typewriter for. Upon entering high school, I used the word processor. The word processor was more advanced than the typewriter as it allowed the user to type a sentence and review the sentence to make sure it was correct before pressing the enter key for the sentence to be automatically typed in. Some of the things that I used the word processor to do as a student included typing letters, one-page reports, and resumes.
When you began teaching, were typewriters used in the classroom by either you as a teacher or the students?
No, but as I stated earlier, word processors were used by both teachers and students.
Do you see any current uses of the typewriter in the classroom today?
It would be interesting to have a discussion with the students about the history of personal computers, how it replaced the typewriter. Other than that, I cannot think of any use of the typewriter or the word processor in today's classrooms.
What technology replaced the typewriter, thereby making it obsolete?
The word processor replaced the typewriter, and then the personal computer replaced the word processor.
List at least 3 uses of the computer in the classroom.
Number 1, computers can be used to create spreadsheets for grades and rosters. Number 2, computers can be used as a means of communication, including email and instant messaging. And number 3, students can use computers to complete activities and assignments using various programs and software, including Classworks, Kids College, and CRCT online assessments.
Do you agree or disagree with the school's decision to replace typewriters with computers in the classroom? Explain your answer.
I agree that computers should have replaced typewriters because computers are more advanced. They combine the word processor feature with other programs and applications. Therefore, they allow users to do more than mere word processing.
Do you think today's students need to know how to use a typewriter? Explain why or why not.
The typewriter and the word processor, for that matter, is too nostalgic. There's just no use for them in today's classroom.
Do you think today's students need to know how to use a computer? Explain your answer.
The computer is the way of the world. Our world is driven by computers. Students need to know how to use a computer for an array of reasons. For example, since dictionaries and encyclopedias have basically become obsolete, students need to know how to use computers to be resourceful and search for needed information.
Could you please start by stating your name, your current position, and your current organization?
My name is Lamont Golden. I'm a migrant paraprofessional, and I work for the Houston County Board of Education.
And what schools in particular?
I work at Westside Elementary School and Linwood Elementary School.
How long have you been in your current position?
This is actually the first year I've been in my current position.
Have you ever used a typewriter, and if so, list at least 3 ways or reasons why you used it?
I have used a typewriter before. I used it in taking a typewriting class to update contact information on Rolodex cards and to type information on adhesive labels.
When you began teaching, were typewriters used in the classroom by either you as a teacher or by the students?
No, typewriters were not used in the classroom by the students or me.
Do you see any current uses of the typewriter in the classroom today?
I could see a typewriter being used as a reference point to show where computers got their blueprint from.
What technology replaced the typewriter, thereby making it obsolete?
Word processors, computers, and electronic tablets working in conjunction with printers have made typewriters obsolete.
List at least 3 uses of the computer in the classroom.
One use is in conjunction with interactive whiteboards to support teacher instruction. Another is for printing out worksheets to support and assess student learning. A third one is to communicate with teachers what students may need to be dismissed. A fourth is to communicate with other educators for support. A fifth reason would be to communicate with the students, parents, or guardians. And another reason would be to utilize virtual classrooms on the internet for student use and to support classroom instruction.
Awesome. Do you agree or disagree with the school's decision to replace typewriters with computers in the classroom today? Please explain your answer.
I agree with the computer replacing typewriters in the classroom. Typewriters are obsolete in virtually every industry outside of the classroom. So in order to effectively prepare students to function independently once finishing school, it's only sensible to mimic the environment they will see at that point. And that future environment will likely contain computers.
Do you think today's students need to know how to use a typewriter? Explain why or why not.
Since the skills required to use a computer for word processing are quite similar to what is required to operate a typewriter, I would say students need to know how to use a typewriter. I think the only additional skills required to use a typewriter are loading the paper into it and setting the margins manually. In addition to that, its use, although unlikely, may be required at one's place of employment. For example, if you're storing contact information on Rolodex cards.
Okay, lastly, do you think today's students need to know how to use a computer? Explain why or why not.
Since we live in an informational and technological age, today's students definitely need to know how to use a computer. Computers are such a vital entity in getting work done in virtually every industry, so knowing how to use them will be essential to ensure a student's confidence in today's workforce. Much of the increased speed of transmitting information revolves around the use of computers, so it's a must for today's students to know how to use them.
Thank you so much. Evolutionary technology is the idea that a new technology is a progression or growth of a previous one. I wonder if the inventors of the typewriter knew of the influence and positive impact that their machine would have on our society, or how this invention would lead to an even greater invention of the personal computer. In one of the course videos, Dr. Thornburg says that some inventors have no idea of the impact that their invention will have on the society, and I couldn't agree with this statement more, as a personal computer is one that I use on a daily basis and cannot imagine life without. Therefore, we see the idea of evolutionary technology in the personal computer as it is merely a progression, advancement, development, growth of the previous technology of the typewriter. Listed are some advantages and disadvantages of the typewriter as compared to the personal computer. As you can see, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. Disadvantages include there only being one font and one size to choose from, with only 2 colors to choose from as the font colors. There is no saving or storage capacity and no spelling or grammar check. Next are some advantages and disadvantages of the personal computer as compared to the typewriter. As you can see, the advantages are plentiful and there are no disadvantages, which clearly show the personal computer as a progression or growth of the typewriter, which is the reason why the typewriter became obsolete in the first place. There was no comparison between the two technologies. When typewriters were hot, here is how they improved in aesthetics and design. And now that personal computers are hot, this is how they've improved in aesthetics and design. And then, of course, from the personal computer, we also have the inventions of the laptop, the netbook, which is a miniature laptop, and the tablet. Rhymes of history is the idea that a new technology is a fresh emergence of the impact felt many years before from another technology. The typewriter made written communication more convenient and easier, as individuals could now type correspondence as opposed to writing it. Have you ever tried to write a one-page paper opposed to typing a one-page paper? If so, you can attest that many of us can type much faster than we can write. After years of being able to type correspondence, the personal computer made this process that much better because now mistakes could easily be corrected without the assistance of correction fluid. And in addition to using the personal computer as a word processor, it offered numerous other features and functionalities that greatly improved the process of written communication. Because of the personal computer and the various technologies that came after its invention, written communication was made easier and faster, and individuals could communicate with others from near and far. In one of the course videos, Dr. Thornburg says that in addition to having the entertainment component, science fiction has also become a force for invention. The make-up technologies in science fiction stories and movies tend to trigger the imagination of inventors. Science fiction is the idea that a new technology emerges from science-based science fiction. Considering that personal computers made their debut in the 70s, I researched some science fiction movies that featured computers within them. For instance, in the 1979 hit Alien and Blade Runner, MUTHR, I think that's pronounced Mother, I don't know, the supercomputer that controlled and monitored every aspect of the Nostromo. Then, of course, the computer is used to create these and many movies that we enjoy today. On the other hand, I could not find any research to suggest that the idea of the typewriter came from science fiction projects. Disruptive technology is the idea that a new technology suddenly appears and creates a brand new way of thinking about a technological task. They are called such because they disrupt what is already going on. In one of the course videos, Dr. Thornburg describes disruptive technologies to occur when a technology may be on an evolutionary path and all of a sudden something brand new comes into the market that meets the same functionality of that previous technology, but does it more efficiently at a lower cost and has other features too, and it ends up obsoleting the previous technology. All these things are true for the personal computer, and because of what the personal computer was capable of doing, the concept of the typewriter is history. As shown on the slide, the personal computer disrupted why and how individuals use a typewriter. Because it allowed them to complete more tasks effectively and efficiently, it forced individuals to think differently about the typewriter. Increasing returns is the idea that between two competing technologies, one technology is chosen and the other disappears. In one of the course videos, Dr. Thornburg suggests that innovations must come out on the market at the same time for the principle to apply. Because a typewriter and the personal computer did not come out at the same time, I do not find increasing returns to be useful in explaining the reason why the typewriter became obsolete. Next, Red Queens is the idea that two technologies suddenly move ahead of a bunch of competitors because of their fierce competition. According to this principle, when there is competition between two technologies, all other technologies are left behind. According to my research, there was no competition or no other technologies that did what the typewriter did at that time, and then now what the personal computer is doing at that time. Because of this, I do not find red queens to be useful in explaining the reason why the typewriter became obsolete. In summarizing all of the powerful forces that drive the emergence of technologies, it is safe to say that after the emergence of the personal computer, individuals stopped purchasing and soon after stopped using typewriters. With a decrease in sales and use, the typewriter technology could no longer thrive, and thereby became obsolete in comparison with this new competition, the personal computer. The personal computer gave individuals a way to do more than just type correspondence, which is all that they could do with the typewriter. Overall, the personal computer's features were incomparable. We are now living in the information age of technologies getting better, smaller, cheaper, and faster over time. We have seen this phenomenon since the evolution of the personal computers in the 70s to today, from the desktop computer to the laptop to the netbook to the tablet, which are all in the personal computer family. Still, another technology that functions like that of a personal computer is a smartphone. Therefore, in considering the future of the personal computer, I think that it will continue to be considered an emerging technology. I say this because I do not see the personal computer ending up in my supply closet. I see that it will continue to improve by getting better and smaller, but I don't see anything coming along to replace it. Even in thinking about the tablet, although the idea of its inception may have come from the personal computer, I do not think that it has the potential to totally replace the personal computer, as it does not have all the same needed functionalities of the personal computer. Overall, I think that the personal computer has a long and lasting bright future ahead, and it has been my pleasure to complete my presentation on this technology, as it is one that I use daily for academic, personal, social, and professional use. This last slide is the references and resources that were used to compile my information for this multimedia presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed reviewing my presentation on obsolete versus emerging technologies, the typewriter versus the personal computer. Thank you.